What's up? I'm in the dark because I like to save electricity. Duh. um, yeah, so, I've got a little bit of a stomach ache because I don't know, I haven't had caffeine in a while. Like, I've been like on and off, and so I think my body's trying to get used to having like more caffeine again because oh my gosh, I've just really been like not myself. I feel very overwhelmed. I don't know. I think I might have touched on this briefly because like my videos are just talking videos mostly, and so I kind of like forget what I end up talking about sometimes. But regardless, like this is how I feel. Like I've had very, very tough years in my life. Like so tough. Like just years of like not knowing what I'm doing with my life. That's a big thing, a big pattern in my life. And just genuinely feeling so lonely. So like those two feelings have emerged like so many different times, right? And I did feel it a lot last year, but I think just because like I was just so blessed to be able to rely on some people financially, well, specifically just one person, it really wasn't as stressful as it could have been. And like it's very strange. Like I really think that 2021 was super duper stressful because even though like 2023 was a moment where in my life I felt like nothing was really going my way, I feel I feel like still that 2021 was such a hard time because I just remember like I wanted to graduate. I was going through so many things medically, so then I couldn't graduate on time. That was so stressful. I could not believe how stressed I was over that. And feeling very lonely. I was in a relationship, but I felt like basically me and my friends, we were so anal about the COVID virus that like we were not seeing each other. And so I remember 2021, I felt like while everything was opening back up that my life would be a lot more social, but it really wasn't the case until like the second half of 2021. And then even then, like I just remember seeing so many of my friends graduate before me and then just being held back with so many young people. Like I was just so embarrassed that I was graduating later. And then I remember I gained a lot of weight because I was like really stressed out and I was drinking a lot, and went back to therapy. Like, it was like the first time I went back to therapy in like a really long time. And yeah, just so many different things was happening. And so honestly, it was like 2021 or 2023, like those were the hardest years of my life, just because in 2021 I felt very lonely, and like I said, just graduating later felt like I was behind. And then in 2023, it was similar feelings of feeling behind, but it was more so just feeling like what am I doing with my life, like I just felt like I was approaching my mid-20s and it was really getting to me. And yeah, it was really tough. I don't know. Just thinking about how long ago that was is so crazy. Like, I know that we could all pinpoint like something that happened 3 years ago and be like, well, that's not that long ago. But I think with just how different things were is why it feels so long ago, because the thing was, in 2023, I ended up being a lot more social, so that was good, versus in 2021. I got in a relationship. I was just doing a lot better, but just not where I wanted to be. And I feel like that was really the start of me being super duper hard on myself. And I think it's just so interesting how God's timing works, because every single time I felt like I was blessed with something, it would be like a turning point of like, I have to work on something else. Like in 2021, like I had like so little credit until I graduated, but then I was going through this medical issue, the worst it had been in forever. Like my back was hurting like crazy. And in 2023, my parents' expectations for me were just so high, and yet I was doing very well socially. So I just feel like not to say that everyone always has, like full on success, like whenever a year is here and it's a new year and whatever, but I just feel like, I don't know, it's very interesting to look back on those times. And it was very weird, because I don't even know how I survived the transition between 2023 and 2024, because in 2023 I was discharged from the military, and there was a lot going on with me medically. However, when I came back home and it was like the following year, it was so crazy because I was already halfway through the year, like spending so much time worrying about the military. And then like 6 months later, my life is completely different. I have a boyfriend, we're living together. And I didn't feel challenged enough. It was very, very weird. It was like in 2023, I was just like feeling like I have so many different challenges in my life, like where am I gonna be in the next 5 years? What am I doing right now? And stuff. But then like in 2024, things were supposed to be significantly better financially because I was receiving a lot of help, but then I just still felt like a hole in my life. And needless to say, I wanted to say something. I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life is to just count my blessings and realize that like not everything needs to be flashy and worthy of public approval that I really could just relax with what I have. Because, for example, I really only had one friend that I was super close to, like the previous year. And it was honestly that friendship that really kept me going, because I just felt like outside of the relationship I was in, like I didn't really have anyone. And I was just so grateful because this friend who I had gotten into an argument with before over something so just minuscule, she was like, hey, like she messaged me one day and she was like, hey, so I really apologize for the way things were, and you're like a sister to me. And I realized, like, I don't know, I just was so happy to receive that message because I had felt so lost again. Like not lost in the sense where I didn't know what I wanted and stuff, but more like lost in the sense of like where I wasn't happy with my life, and I didn't understand how to make it more enjoyable. So I was just genuinely displeased with my life, and yeah, so I realized like just how much friendship matters to me. And so now it's like I try to reach out to my friends as much as possible, and I realized like one of the underlying themes of my life was just feeling so lonely. And I'm one of those people that deals very well with loneliness. Like there has been multiple moments in my life where I was just like alone and I was fine with it. And so I know that I can be alone and stuff, but I think it's more like sharing my successes and sharing my failures even with other people makes me feel like less like I'm traveling this life path on my own, and more like I am on this journey that so many people can relate to. I remember this one time, and I was talking to my one friend, and he was just kind of like AWOL for a couple months or whatever. And usually back then, I wasn't the type to reach out to people because I didn't like when someone did that to me. So I just tried to respect other people and try not to like overstep. But, so basically he messaged me and he was like, hey, I'm really going through something. Like, I need your advice. So we met up, and not to go into specifics, but because it's not really my story to tell, but he was really struggling with his career path. And I realized, like, I was just like, I'm so grateful. Like, I told him, I was like, I'm so grateful you told me this, because I have been going through the same thing, and I have been so embarrassed to talk about it. And our life had looked so different the year prior, because basically we were going out, we were just like living it up, we were young and stuff like that, and just like going out late at night and whatever. And then to go from that to then the next year later, it's like we had completely like isolated ourselves, and we had not even seen each other in like forever. I just feel like it's so crazy how life can work that way. And so I guess all I'm saying is that the pendulum of going from strong emotions one day to like, strong emotions the next day, like for an entire year, is just not normal. And I realized after the year that I've had, with so many different things happening, so I can't even summarize the past year in one sentence. And I think that anyone who gets older will say the same thing. Like, so much can happen in a day, right? I just feel like I have realized that after spending so much time alone, because last year I wasn't working a lot because I was constantly getting sick, I realized like being alone with my thoughts, it made me realize like, wow, like when the earth is still, basically, like when things are not in the momentum of just like craziness, I realized like how much in control I have of my life. And yes, things can be unpredictable, but I just realized like, wow, every single day was an opportunity for me to change my life. And the power that I had over my life just became so expansive, where I was like, wow, I realized how strong I was. I went into group therapy myself, and that was something I had only done once in my life prior, and it was very nerve-wracking for me. But then I realized, I was like, I need to stop acting like I'm okay. And so, a long story short, I basically realized like I don't want to be miserable for an entire year and isolate myself and not celebrate my small wins. Like this year I started 2 businesses. One is failing, even though I just started. But, I feel like I'm at a different time in my life where I don't care if something doesn't work out as much, because I realized that no matter how much older you get, you can't always avoid failure. And, like I said, like back then I was lonely, I was lost, I was confused, I was displeased with my life. I realized like those are normal feelings. And when there's a moment where I need to change something, I need to actually make those changes. And so that's what I learned about every year thus far, that so much can change in one day. And I'm just so much more vocal about my struggles now. I used to shy away a lot from a lot of those negative emotions, and now like I share them with my friends. We cry together, we laugh together. Like I don't like going through stuff alone anymore. And other things that I am grateful for so far of this year is getting the help that I needed. I was going through a very big loss of my love life, and even realizing the impact that my parents have as an adult to me. I realized like that the independence that I want from my childhood wounds is very much still there. Like I don't like to associate with things that I was taught growing up that just don't match up with how things are progressing now in life. And yeah, so I really just wanted to share that. Like a lot of people say I'm very mature, I'm very smart, I'm all these different things, and I'm very flattered. But I also think that if you could see just how much I have to work on myself, like all the work I put into what I do and how I communicate, it's like you would see that like this stuff is not easy to deal with. And a lot of us grow up with parents that are so caring and nurturing and supportive, and not all of us were blessed to grow up in an environment like that, and like, I don't know, I just feel that being more open with my emotions has really helped me like every day. Because instead of bottling it all in and wasting every day just being so negative, like, now I share my struggles, I share them with my friends, or if I feel like I need therapy, I go there, so yeah. And so we'll see what I talk about next time. I'm back in school, so there's that. And yeah, I have work tomorrow. We'll see how work goes. Apparently my horoscope is telling me like someone is going to reach out to apologize to me, and then there's going to be changes in my career positively or whatever. I don't even know. So we'll see. But I love y'all. Bye.